SEC basketball tournament begins, and it is in a neutral site as far as where the court is, but it is very close to where the number one team in the SEC tournament, as well as the number one team, one of the number one teams in the country, South Carolina, play. It's over in Greenville, South Carolina.
Right.
Let's just talk big picture here. Do you feel like the Gamecocks have a disproportionate advantage to be able to be, an hour and a half from home?
You know, I think the thing about South Carolina, women's basketball specifically, is that fan base is so passionate about their women's basketball.
That's true. It's very true.
I mean, it's obviously convenient, and when the games are played in the middle of the day, families can travel up a lot easier to Greenville than if it was in another state. But I feel like they're going to have a following regardless of where it is.
Yeah, I think there's certain programs, like I think UConn is the same way. I think in a certain degree, at one point, Tennessee was the same way, that their fans will travel no matter where this team is. All right, so South Carolina, they're actually, weirdly enough, I looked at the betting odds, because of course, and they're actually not the favorite to win this tournament.
Really?
Texas is.
Oh.
And I think
I can see that.
And I think a lot of it's because of what comes down to what Noah and Roger said, the fact that they have avenged both of their losses. Everybody forgets that they beat South Carolina because it didn't count in the SEC standings. Remember, because it was in the non-conference part of the season, so it happened earlier there in the year. So, and they ended up beating South Carolina, so they went 1-1 against the Gamecocks. But if somebody were to ask you, South Carolina or the field, who do y'all like?
I got South Carolina.
You like South Carolina?
If it's between South Carolina and Texas, yes, it's not a home game, but it's 98 miles from Columbia, so it really is a home game.
Right.
It's such a toss-up, though,
because
I think if Madison Booker and everyone on Texas comes ready to play, I think Texas matches up perfectly with South Carolina. It's just you also got to factor in the quote-unquote home court advantage there.
Yeah.
Plus all the hoopla around it. We've been talking about game day is going to be there for the entire tournament.
Right.
I'm gonna reserve for now. Let me think on it.
And the good thing about this tournament, there is a double bye, so you don't really get to see. I mean, they're all good teams. I'm not just, disparaging any team, but you don't get to see the top four seeds until a bunch of games have already played out. And so, can a team like Alabama, teams like Alabama and Tennessee that sit in the single bye line, can they make a run?
Right.
That's the question. And so, and obviously for these teams, they're all making the NCAA tournament. I know you see it a lot with the men as far as like who's actually going to, want to win the SEC tournament and who's preparing themselves for 2 weeks ago.
Right, it's almost like those teams that are at the lower seed have a little more fight in them because they're trying to make it into the NCAA tournament. They're not resting. They're doing everything they can to get to that next step.
Yeah. All right, so Patrick, you gave me some flowers about the Texas A&M. I'll give you yours. You did call the SEC's Player of the Year. But now we also have the SEC Defensive Player of the Year also announced as well.
Yeah, and Raven Johnson, I think people around this South Carolina program basically saw this one coming. I think the stat that really sticks out to me the most is opponents shot just 38% with her on the floor. Without her, pretty close to 50%.
Wow.
I mean, that's a pretty stark difference, and that just goes to show you that honestly, if I was on the committee, and I know the coaches vote on all of these awards, all I needed to see was that stat, and I would have been like, Defensive Player of the Year right there.
Right. And especially, obviously you're talking about, the overall scoring, but more than likely she's always going to be on the best player. And she obviously takes a lot from the offense as well. So obviously a good thing for her going into it. And I think for South Carolina, it's one of those where I think that they're almost ready-made to win a national championship. Yeah. It's just can you play to your standard for what it'll be 2 games in the SEC and then 6 games overall? Can you play your standard for 8 straight games? I think that's the question, and it's a high wire act too, because it's like, hey, you're the best, you're one of the best, but you also know Texas is right around the corner and UConn is right around the corner, so and UCLA is right around the corner. To me, it just seems like I think we're going to get the most entertaining women's college basketball NCAA tournament, and I hate to push the gas forward and just bypass the SEC. I'm just waiting for the NCAA tournament because I think it's going to be so fun.
I'm going to make a bold prediction.
I like it. Here it is on March 4th.
South Carolina and Texas will meet 2 more times this year.
Ooh.
And whoever wins the first one's going to lose the second one. That's just how it always works in sports.
So they've met twice already.
Yes.
You got them meeting 2 more times.
Yes.
In the SEC and the
Who
NCAA.
do you think is more likely to win the SEC?
I'll give the SEC to South Carolina.
Okay.
Wow.
I'll give the NCAA tournament to Texas.
I think if somebody were to tell me to guarantee that scenario is going to play out, I like it the opposite.
I
like it the opposite.
I like it the opposite.
Yeah.
Here's the one thing I'll guarantee. If they do meet 2 more times, there's no way the same team is winning twice. Just with how good both of those teams are, absolutely no way.
Yeah,
I mean, we see that all the time in sport, where a team might win the SEC championship, like in football. Georgia might win the SEC championship,
right?
But if they meet the team that they just beat, sometimes that team has their get back, so to speak,
right,
and ends up knocking them off when it truly matters.
Exactly, make all the proper adjustments. Don Staley and company are looking to win another SEC tournament and move on to the NCAA tournament. She talked about the defense prior to the SEC tourney.
I mean, missed some shots. I thought we got in a scramble situation after those missed shots in transition. And then Strack did a great job. I mean, they really got her the ball in her spots, and she delivered. I mean, I don't think it was any different than what we've seen. A little bit of zone they mixed in. I just thought we didn't hit shots. I mean, we got some great looks. Tessa doesn't shoot the way she shot always. And I thought she had some pretty open looks. I thought she took some that was kind of quick, but I mean, we could take that from Tessa. So we bit the bullet and took some quick shots, and they made us pay for it.